And we are live. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And it's been a while, guys. It's been a while. More so on my part, I hold my hands up, I let the side down. But again, we are back better than ever. Welcome. How you guys been?
Yeah, we here. You know, it's a trash 2020, bro. It's a trash 2020.
Been compounded this evening,
bro.
by a clown.
I mean, just in case you guys have not heard, the news has come out from good old Bojo that basically everything is locked off from Thursday. Yeah, pubs, gyms, life for at least a month. It's a lockdown for a month, so it's not the whole rest of the year, but it pretty much is the rest of the year because we're in October now. So November is a write-off. Back in December, lads. Yes.
Hey, I ain't felt this bad since the takeover news.
Yeah. There has not been that bad takeover. In fact, get your comments in early on. What's worse? Not having a takeover or this lockdown news.
Oh,
Hey,
I tell you what I don't want. I don't want this lockdown being spent asking we're gonna get taken over or not. I don't want that news anymore.
Oh my god.
Actually would do something like that, you know. Like I would let it go for like 20p, but again, there's no one to come out of their house and give me the money. Do you know what I mean? Or some made up reason like that.
All I'll say, Funmbi, is don't be surprised if the takeover talk starts to ramp up now, because everything's locked off. The media have got nothing else to really report on, and you know, this is where you're going to get some of the national newspapers that are going to start rumbling out these stories that have just come out of nowhere about a takeover and stuff, just to create a little bit of discussion and a little bit of interest. I wouldn't put it past them, but all I would say is look, just the key to it all, because there's clearly stuff still going on with that. You know, I know we've not got the takeover on the agenda, but there's clearly stuff still going on with that. Let it be done in the background. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to think about it. If it's done, we'll know when the deal's announced and it's all done and dusted. Other than that, let's just focus on the team and the players and what goes on the pitch.
Well, yeah. Talking about the team and the players, I suppose before we get into the Everton game, let's recap on the last game, because obviously I came home just to see a result. I didn't see the game in its entirety. I'm guessing you two did. Somehow we managed to get a point. That's the kind of narrative that I'm getting. So, yeah, talk me through that, guys. How did we get a point?
It's funny because before the game, my brother asked me, like, how do you lot do against Wolves? I was like, we always get a draw for some reason. And they always outplay us, but we nick a draw somehow. And so I was like, that was the only thing I was thinking about. But watching the game, I think Wolves were wasteful. They had us on the ropes. They had us at their beck and call. Like, they could actually do what they wanted. But for some reason, they couldn't break us down. And so when the 1-0 went in, I think everybody was like, yeah, there's no way we can come back after this because we've not even got up the pitch. But funny enough, we pressed, and I don't think we were playing particularly better. Hey, Pete, we go 1-0 down. What's Bruce's genius plan? Bring on Carroll. It's time to loft it.
I knew it was coming.
So predictable.
It was like, but even more predictable before that is that I knew Joe Linton's coming on.
Oh my God.
That was the thing. I knew it was coming on.
I don't get it. We're struggling for goals, so you bring on two people who barely score or have an impact in the game.
Exactly, and that's the thing I think that winds up the Newcastle fans with regards to Bruce. When you've got people in the media and you've got ex-players and pundits that praise Bruce to the hilt, and they're like, well, why are the fans getting on his back? They're still getting points and things. But when you look at decisions like that, you're thinking that's why the fans get on his back. And we know, and we've talked about it before we came on, is that, you know, we were incredibly lucky to get anything from that game. Because we, you know, if we'd have walked off that pitch or they'd have walked off that pitch with 0 points, we'd have said, yeah, we deserve that. Because it was bad. It was bad. However, you know, there are some positives in there. Jacob Murphy was brilliant at wing back. I have to be honest, when I saw the lineup, I was a bit like, you got two right backs on the bench, We've got 2 right backs on the bench, but none in the starting lineup. Okay, let's see how that runs. But actually, he kind of proved his start, and you know what? More so than anything, because there's lot been talked about Jacob Murphy, but he's a Geordie. I mean, his family are from Newcastle. He supports the club, and it's really nice to see that a guy that supports the club, that came to us because he's a fan when he could have gone elsewhere, really working hard. He's gone on loan. He's paid his dues from that respect. He's come back in and he's worked his arse off to get back in that team. And that performance was kind of the point proven, really. I just hope he gets given opportunity to build on that, because I thought he played really well.
What about Cardano?
Oh,
You know what? I've got to be honest. For the first time ever, I think, certainly since we had him in the Championship, I was actually really pleased to see him in the starting lineup on Sunday. I've never been like that before. I've always been like, oh, can't wait for the
and then he let you down with the save.
Oh, it was awful. It was awful. But you know what? I'll for the fact we got a point, I'll allow that, because other than that, I think he was quite controlled.
He was good.
He made a couple of good saves, and you know what? He stepped up. He stepped up. I don't know how long Dubravka's got. I think his injury's been slower to heal than they previously.
Of course he has. We've got Bruce at the helm.
Yeah. So it was meant to be a 6 to 8 week job. I think it's been either that or slightly longer now, and it's not healed the way it needed to. So I think he's probably going to be away for another 3-4 weeks. And you know what? It's weird, but we haven't really missed Dubravka, because Darlow's played really well. He's made some good saves. Yes, he made that mistake on Sunday, but other than that, he's done well for us. And like I've said, I don't rate him as a goalkeeper long term for us, but I always want players to prove me wrong, and he's definitely done that. So fair play to him.
No, I hear that. So Murphy did well. Darlow has done okay, obviously, since coming back. I mean, do I dare go on to the people that kind of let us decide down? Am I going to be surprised at all? Or is it going to be the usual suspects?
You know what? I don't think anyone let us down. I just think with the system Bruce played, everyone was thinking, so what's going on here? I don't get it. Like, what's the plan? Like, I didn't get the plan. Was it to counter? Was it to have more pace? Because Miggy, for me, was terrible. He just didn't know what to do on the left. He just didn't know what to do. Do I cross it? Do I look for ASM? He just didn't know what to do.
Look, we briefly spoke about it before we came on, and I said then, and I'll say it again. If you look at that lineup, you had Fraser and Almiron, and I felt sorry for them, and I think their performances are not down to them not wanting to do well. If you look at the way they were positioned in the team, they weren't centre midfielders, but they weren't attacking midfielders. They were in between, and I think neither of them knew what to do. Neither of them did. Neither of them knew whether they should get forward. Neither of them knew whether they needed to get back, and there was a massive confusion there. And I think that really impacted on their performances. And like I said, I felt sorry for them, and I don't think their performances were their fault. I think it was just a lack of organisation. So as Jonathan just put in there, we mentioned Hayden and Sean Longstaff. I think one of those two will start tomorrow, and it will probably be Hayden, and he'll be a welcome addition back into this team.
No, good shout out to Jonathan and Andrew in the building, David as well, listening as ever. So, transitioning from Wolves now on to Everton. How do we go about this? Because, Everton started off the season very well. They've made some good signings in, Rodriguez and Alan and all the rest of it. But, they're still there. And obviously, Calvert-Lewin as well. Obviously, he's getting his England caps now as well. But again, there's still the old Everton, i.e. Jordan Pickford. So wherever there's a Jordan, there's a way. I know it's usually where there's a will, there's a way, but where there's a Jordan, there's a way. You know what I mean? He can slip up and cost them a point and gift us a goal. I mean, you only got to go back to obviously when we drew them 2-2 and the team scores 2 in like 2 minutes, literally.
Yeah.
Or you could take our centre back out and make him injured for the rest of the season.
I mean, yeah, that is one. But yeah, how do we go about this? How do we go about getting anything from this game? Because I don't know, St James Park is no longer the fortress that it once was. I mean,
sorry, where was it a fortress?
I was about to say, I finished it off. I was about to finish it off before you jumped in. It was about to jump in.
We had a fortress.
It was
2012. 2012 was probably the last time.
Probably further back than that, but yeah, I'll take 2012. 8 years ago. Yeah, that sounds about right. But
to be fair, we've never made St James's a fortress. We've just given everybody a fire game home and away. You know what I mean? Well, like if we're gonna lose high. If we're gonna win high. You know?
We're the entertainers for a reason. Do you know what I mean? We're the entertainers for a reason.
The entertainers. If we're gonna beat Man United at St James's, it's gonna be 3-0. If we're gonna lose, it's gonna be 5-0. We don't mind, innit? Just bring it on.
No in between.
Yeah, there's no in between with us. No in between.
Pretty much so. But yeah, like how do we go about this? Because obviously we've got people out, they've got players out. So I'll start with you, Pete. Like, how do we go about this, man?
It's simple for me. I think if we're going to get anything from Everton, we go down the wings. Their 2 first choice fullbacks are not playing. Seamus Coleman's injured. Lucas Digne is suspended. He's 1 game suspension. And they've been key to them. Them guys bombing forward and getting balls into the box and supporting the attacks has been a key sort of element to their system. And the one thing really in that Everton team is they haven't got backups in either position. So they're going to be playing makeshift players. So for example, they've been playing Ben Godfrey, who is a fantastic centre-back and a great signing for them. But again, he's a centre-back. You don't know how to play right back. And I think that was proven on Saturday against Southampton. They got a lot of joy down the side of the pitch. But equally now with Digne not playing, there are ins there. There are ins. And when you're looking at saint-maximin, you're looking at Almiron or Fraser or, you know, any one of those 3. We should be getting joy down their flanks. And that's where if I was, well, I say if I was Bruce, I don't want to be Bruce. If I was a decent manager, I'd be saying to our players, get. Yeah, I never said if I was Bruce. So I don't want to be saying if I was Bruce. Anyone else but Bruce. But if I was talking to those players in the build-up to this game, I'd be saying that's where we get something from the game is down the wings, and that's our way forward. I think play the same system we played against Wolves. 3 at the back, wing backs. Really isolate Calvert-Lewin because he's not got James Rodriguez. He hasn't got Richarlison up there in quality to support. He'll have a Wobie. I think we can manage a Wobie. I think I don't rate him.
Wobie, I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, well, I don't rate him. I think they've had their pants down. They've had their pants pulled down with that signing, just like Tottenham did with Sissoko for 30 million. It's just not worth it whatsoever. And I think if we isolate Calvert-Lewin and make it really difficult with him with 3 centre-backs, I think we could get some joy from this game. If we make it a midfield battle, we'll lose. They've got Allen and Corey, and they'll run us out the park if we play it down the middle. So we need to be smart. We need to play it out of positions where they're not going to get on the ball. Keep it wide, keep it attacking, get balls into the box, and for God's sake, Newcastle, take shots at the goalkeeper because he will give us a goal. He will give us a goal for sure. If we pepper him with shots, long distance in the box, don't be afraid to shoot. We will get a goal because he is dog shit. He is dog shit. Reality. He's awful. He's an awful goalkeeper. He's not even 3rd choice for England. He's that bad.
I mean, for some reason he might be, but Funmbi, talk me through this, brother. What we say, bro?
To be honest with you, until Pete told me how many players they had out, I thought we were gonna get a spanking. But now that he's explained that, you know, the players they have missing, it's an opportunity. We're at home. we should beat. We should. Let me say we should go for this game. I've never thought Everton were going to win the league. It was only 4 games in, and of course you start great, but it's how you finish that matters.
Yeah.
So this is that opportunity. I think they lost their last game, and this is what I can't stand about Newcastle. They lost their last game to Southampton. Southampton bossed them. You understand? Took away their weapons. Danny Ings is a goal scorer. They're going to get their goals. My problem with Newcastle is we're not going to do that. We're going to act as if they're Barcelona and show them all the respect in the world if they play with their first team. And then they'll pick us apart. Southampton show them no respect. I don't care you've been scoring. I don't care you've got James. We're balling here. And they've got the points. We don't do that. We sit back. We do a work in progress. We give the ball to Maximum. And we try to dribble everybody, including the coaching staff. And when that doesn't happen, we're in trouble.
You know what it is? No, go on, Funmbi.
No, I was just going to say, so... Yeah, with those players that they've got missing, this is a big opportunity because the last thing I want to see is Richarlison going at Fernandes and them man there, just making moves, him and Calvert-Lewin and James Rodriguez. I'd have a heart attack by half time. But with them man missing, Pete's right. Calvert-Lewin hasn't got the quality. Can you imagine if Callum Wilson had the quality Calvert-Lewin was getting at Everton just behind him?
He's scoring just as many goals.
And we've got it. We've got those players. We've actually got those. I felt so sorry for Callum Wilson last week. I was thinking to myself, if I'm a goal-scoring striker, I'm pissed. The ball's not even coming to me. You must have put Joe Linton on. We can't do any. It wouldn't have been any different.
You know what? For me, you're absolutely right. And with regards to how we set up as a team, you know what that's down to? That's down to Steve Bruce giving the team that we play against too much respect. And he sits back against every team that we play, regardless of their ability, regardless of their top 4, regardless of their bottom 4. We give teams far too much respect. We did it against Man United, where they were on the fence and they were on the ropes, and they were waiting for the knockout punch. Because I tell you what, if we'd have beat them, Ollie would have been under pressure, big time. And what do? We give them too much respect, and therefore they hit us for 4. Their confidence is sky high, and now they're flying. And we do that all the time.
Pete, it was 1-1, They weren't even looking for the win. They weren't even looking for it.
86
we gave them 4 goals. 3 goals in
86 minutes. It was 1-1.
And here's Steve Bruce. We were a bit naive. No, he wasn't naive. You were dead. That's what happened.
And we do it time and time and time again. Now, as you said, this is a real opportunity today. Tomorrow, a massive opportunity to go out there and have a go at this team, this Everton team, because they won't be going into this game full of confidence because they're looking around the players and they're thinking 4 of our main players are all out. They don't know where they're going to get their attacking intent from or where they're potentially going to get their goals from. If we isolate Calvert-Lewin, we've got a real good opportunity, and this is this is another test. Steve Bruce, can you put together a team that is going to go out there and perform, not sit back and be hard to break down? A team that's going to go out there and really attack and show their intent. Because as we talked about, he's got the players. He's got the finances. There was no excuses now. He can't talk about he hasn't got this player or that player or whatever. He's had money. He's got. We talk about that front 4. Callum Wilson, saint-maximin, Almiron, Fraser. You've got the best part of 100 million worth of talent there. You cannot argue that. There are no excuses. There are no hiding places. You have to be able to put a team out that is going to cause those teams problems. We had, I think, 2 shots on goal against Wolves with all of those players in the starting lineup. That is not good enough. I don't care what team we're playing against.
Remember that game against, remember just before Rafa left, just before Bruce came in, we were playing Leicester and Brendan Rodgers was on fire with this Leicester team. He was doing bits and they came against Newcastle and we outplayed them. They couldn't even believe it. I was scored their header. They couldn't even see us that game. And I'm thinking, where has that gone? Where has that mindset gone? Because everybody thought they're going to beat us. But because Rafa's such a smart man, he took time out of the game. And this is my problem with Bruce. When we go into these games, I'm not sitting there thinking we might take them out of the game. I'm sitting there thinking, hopefully, they don't come and turn us over.
Yeah. Well, that mindset is gone with the manager over in China. That's where that mindset's gone. That mindset disappeared because that was his way. Look, we've talked about before, and I know we're slightly going off conversation here, but Rafa, right, didn't play the greatest of football. I think everyone knew that, and is honest with that. But I tell you what, he had a way of playing. He had a system. He had a structure that everyone in that squad, regardless of who was playing, knew what their role was and knew what they needed to do. And that's why we were able to go to the likes of Leicester when they were flying high and nullify them and nick a goal on the counter and be able to hold out for a 1-0 win. That's why he had the ability to do that. And he had the ability to go to better teams. And yes, not always win, but when we did lose, we only lost by 1 or 2 goals and not 3, 4, 5, 6. And that was the difference, because there was a structure and a way of playing. Bruce hasn't got a clue. And Man United was a classic example of that, in that he just threw players on and just told them to go and play. They were all over the place, got caught on the counter. After 86 minutes, conceded 3 goals in less than 10 minutes. Not good enough.
I was going to say one thing in the last game. I'm hearing, well, I didn't see it, but I'm hearing that the Dream Team played together, i.e., Almiron, ASM, and Fraser all played on the same side. Is that correct?
They played, but they didn't play together. They definitely played, but they weren't playing together. They were just on the pitch. They weren't playing together.
They were just flung together. So we had one centre midfielder. We had Almiron and Fraser just in front of Hendricks, so the only centre midfielder. 2 of them, so effectively playing 2 attacking midfielders. And then you had saint-maximin and Wilson playing together as sort of like a front 2. It was just all over the place. It was all over the place. And they didn't know what they were doing. We didn't know what they were doing. I don't think Bruce knew what they were doing. It was just an absolute mismatch. Sorry, just like it was all over the place. So the lineup is going to be very interesting tomorrow. Very interesting because Hayden's fit and he naturally comes back in the team. You got Longstaff who's chomping at the bit now. He had tonsillitis, I think, for a couple of weeks. Now he's back. We've got options. So look, I'm looking forward to this game because this is an opportunity. Look, we win. We have one of our best starts in the Premier League for the first 6, 7 games, and 11 points can take us up into 5th, 6th place in the table. When have we ever talked about that in recent years? After 6 or 7 games, that we're in the top half of the table, rather than thinking about how many points have we got to survive. That this win tomorrow potentially could put us 10 points clear of the bottom 3 with 7 games gone. That should be motivation in itself.
But none of those teams have won a game this season. That's a madness.
Yeah. And whilst that's still the case, Funmbi, we need to make sure that we're still picking up points, because the bigger and the greater the gap is between them and us, the better it is for us to start thinking more positively and thinking up the table. And as a mentality of a team, we should then be confident of going into these type of games and thinking, okay, we've got a bit of a gap now between the bottom 3. Let's really go and express ourselves. And hopefully on the back of that, we then see us playing better football. So
it's so funny because
I
think someone asked about our next 6 fixtures after we lost, or we drew? No, we lost to Man United. Yeah. And I honestly thought, man, we're going to get... But it's possible to get a couple decent results here or there. Definitely. If we play well tomorrow.
I mean, we looked after the win...
No, carry on, sorry, Pete.
No, I was going to say, we looked after the win at Burnley and we thought, right, after the international break, we've got Man U, Wolves and Everton. Now, we've got the potential of those 3 games, and they're all 3 tough games with... the teams that we're looking at, Man U finished 4th, Wolves finished 7th, Everton has spent money. We're thinking, they're 3 tough games there. But if we can come out of those 3 games with 4 points, we can say it's not too bad. And then you've got the likes of Palace coming up, the likes of, say, Southampton coming up. I think we might have Chelsea along the way, but then we've got another game that's winnable. And we're now starting to look into, after this game tomorrow, a run of fixtures where we should be looking at getting points. So it's not all bad if we get the points tomorrow, and I think it's important that we do.
Who gets the chop? Who gets axed tomorrow? Because I'm seeing Lascelles might be out. I'm hearing that this whole mismatch of all of our attacking players didn't work. I'm now hearing Jacob Murphy playing at right wing back, who I thought I'd never see before, but apparently he did quite well. Yeah, so who gets chopped and who gets brought in for us? Obviously.
He's gonna drop Miggy. He's definitely gonna drop Miggy.
Oh, we see that shocking.
It's not always that shocking. Just Bruce is an idiot, so he's gonna drop Miggy. He's gonna play his son, Hendricks, who I think should just Hendricks. I'm had enough already, but whatever in it. But he's gonna drop Miggy. Frazier needs to play on the friggin' left for once. He needs to start a game in his position, you know, and not bring him on when we're chasing the game. Not play him out of position. Play him in an attacking position where he's normally playing. Okay, and then I don't really care where he puts the rest, but he's gonna drop Miggy, and Hendricks is gonna play. And if we're losing, okay, I don't care if we're 20-0 down. Don't bring on Jolinton or Carroll because it's not gonna make a difference. Just keep on playing the way we're playing, and we'll talk about the next game. But don't bring them cats on, please.
He did the same thing. Brought on Carroll again.
He brought on Carroll here, and the goal didn't even come from him. It came from a dead set ball. Carroll and Jolinton. When he brought on Jolinton here, everybody said, "For what? For what?"
And he
was
the one that was
meant.
He was the one that was meant to be marking Jimenez when the goal was scored. So Jimenez, if you watch the goal back, Jimenez just rather than run into the box for the corner to get the header, he just pulls himself onto the edge of the box. Jolinton doesn't track him, and then look at how Jolinton tries to block the ball. He literally jumps out of the way of the ball, so he gets a clear shot at Caldalo. If he'd put his body in front of the ball doesn't get to Caldalo. There's no goal. And that's just by putting Jolinton on the pitch, because for 70-odd minutes of that game, we handled Jimenez. He barely had a sniff. Put Jolinton on the pitch, goal. It's that simple. So
I don't want to see Carroll play for us again. I don't. We don't need him.
So this Jolinton loving needs to stop. He needs to stop coming. He needs to stop playing for us, coming off the bench or starting. It just needs to stop. We've got options now. You've got Longstaff, the Longstaff brothers coming back in. You've got, you've got Miggy. You've got Ryan Fraser. You've got more and better attacking options on the bench and in the starting lineup than him. So we just need to stop playing him. We really do.
You know, Pete, I don't mind if you start him, but if you're not starting Jolinton, that means he's not playing that game.
Yeah.
You don't bring on somebody who doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
It's like I'd rather you bring on Atsu again. You might just bring on Atsu.
Hey.
You know what? I'll be honest with you, and it might sound weird saying it, but Atsu would probably give you more than Jolinton. He just doesn't. He just doesn't offer anything Jolinton doesn't. He really doesn't, and it's horrible to say, but he's getting worse. He's getting worse. He's had a couple of games where he played like just about half decent, and we all kind of raved about it because he was playing slightly better than shit. You know what I mean? Let's be honest. He's playing slightly better than shit. He's still nowhere near. But
what it is, Pete? Yeah, in that game where he played on the left, we were playing a trashy Burnley side. So it wasn't going to make a difference. Why would Bruce now think that's going to work against Man United? He was dire.
Yeah. Oh my gosh! I mean, look, you got some people agreeing with you in the comment section, bro. Andrew saying, "Agree with Funmbi. Jolinton should be nowhere near our squads." Jonathan, yes, Funmbi. I did the same when Jolinton came on. I literally shouted, "What the fuck?" at the TV. I mean, it's.
He scored one goal for us last season. So how are we chasing the game and bringing him on?
Yeah.
Remember when we brought on Gale a couple of games last season? We brought on Gale and he scored immediately because that's the kind of guy he is. You're bringing on two guys. First of all, it takes Andy Carroll 2 weeks to get accustomed to the game.
Yeah.
And it's so predictable. Alley-oop football, lost it, win the ball. Fools were happy with that. That stressed me out.
Oh, guys, Statman Keith is in the building. Was waiting for him. Statman Keith, what are you saying? Evening, Geordies down south. Everton's injuries favour Newcastle, but still think Everton have a bit too much quality with Calvert-Lewin, the core. Also think no crowd favours Pickford. 3-1 to Everton. that's not about chat with the crowd thing. I'm not gonna lie, the crowd thing, because again, if we was in there, we'd be getting on Pickford. But you know, and then also, one second, he also goes on to say Joe Linton's strike rate for Newcastle 1 in 22. Lord.
That's better than what I thought it was, to be honest.
That's not even worth doing the percentage. It's not even worth doing the percentage.
No.
It's just 1 in
22 in the Premier League for a £40 million forward, and yet we have to keep playing him just so we can get his so his valuation doesn't drop any lower than it has now. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, you mean so someone can actually look and think we should buy him? Nah.
You know,
We've got the new Mesut Ozil. He's going to sit on our books until his contract done.
And the thing is, when we give out contracts, we give out like 8-year contracts stupidly, or 5-year contracts or whatever. So for another 4 or 5 years or however long he's got a contract for, he's going to sit on the books on whatever it is, 80 grand. I think he's one of the top earners as well.
Yeah, 80 grand a week.
You know what killed me? That when he scored his debut goal against Tottenham, that his first goal, I thought, it's going to pick up from here.
We all got gassed. Can't even lie.
Everyone did.
And thought we all thought, oh God, we've got a real Brazilian on our hands. Waiting. We all thought, yes, Ronaldo has come to Newcastle. We've got him on a snitch. And then lo and behold, okay, the next one needs to score. Okay, he'll score again. Then the next one. And then the next one. And now you see where I'm going with this. And then, as Keith pointed out, 22 games. 22
you know what?
Games. Little one against a League Two and a League One side, and your five-a-side team done at goals. It's called them goals, but actual Premier League goals, nah, it's not happening. Right.
Seriously, you know what? You know when he scored that goal against Tottenham, and everyone was gassing about it. I was at a wedding at the time. My thought went through my head when we got those 3 points. I thought, I wonder if Joe Linton's going to get in the next Brazilian squad.
Brazil squad.
He wouldn't even get in the Brazilian under 18s.
Oh, you mean I think he's worse than Kennedy? How about that?
No, but
he
at
is,
least
he is.
Kennedy actually had a good run. When we first got him, Pete, you'll back me up on this. When we first got him, he looked like Roberto Carlos, and then he turned into flipping, I don't know, some no guy down at Power League. Like it's
that first 6 months, right? That first 6 months when we got him on loan from Chelsea, right? In the January transfer window, he was quality. For that 6 months, he was quality. And then in the summer, when we thought we could get him on a little 10 million, 15 million deal, and Chelsea turned around and said 30. We want a 30 for him. And we were a bit like, nah, it's all right, we'll get back on loan again. And then we got him back and he was absolute trash for that season. For that whole season, he was trash. And that's a shame because that's what we remember him as now. Because he had that full season with us and he was awful. He had such a bad season. He missed the penalty against Cardiff in the last minute that could have won us the game at the start of that season. He just didn't recover from it. And it's a shame because that first 6 months at times he was unplayable. I remember during that 6 months it was the first of the 2 wins at Leicester at the King Power, and I think he did like the flip flop between a couple of legs of the Leicester players, and I was there watching it, thinking, wow, like he is a player.
Talent.
We've got an absolute gem here, and then he's just the fact that he's playing at, I think he's playing at Eibar or Getafe or somewhere like that in Spain. One of them. And the fact that no other team has took a chance on him just says everything. Really, he's had problems throughout his sort of like early career with attitude and how he conducts himself. So it was a shame. But I would say that 6 months alone we've already seen him produce more than Joe Linton has in over a year. So yeah, I think Funmbi's spot on.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Anyway, I don't know how we got onto Kennedy, and we were talking about Joe Linton and all sorts. But
we were talking about the call-ups for the Brazilian squad. We got lost.
Next level, call out some Brazilians and all sorts. Oh my lord! I don't think we'll be having that anytime soon. Anyway, getting back to this Everton game. I mean, yeah, Pickford's still in goal, so yeah, we got a chance. The no crowd noise, I like that point. That was a good point because, as I said before, we usually get onto Pickford and he usually likes to bite. Let's face it, he bites a lot.
But that's the thing. I was going to say, just on that, with Pickford, it's the other way around as well for him. Is that he feeds off the crowd too.
Yeah.
So because they're not there, is he going to be as switched on? Is he going to be as focused? Is he going to be as up for it as he would have been if it was a full 52,000 St. James's? I don't know.
Yeah, true. I mean, I could see Carroll starting just for that reason, innit? Like them two battering each other, Carroll getting into his ear. I could see him just starting for that reason because you can't see Joe Linton trying to wind Pickford up, can you? Could you imagine? Joe Linton trying to wind Pickford up. Pickford would be like, mate, you're shit. Like,
real talk. If Carroll starts tomorrow, I'm not watching the game until he comes off. That's
you're boycotting just because of Carroll starts.
I don't care if they have a Geordie relationship. I'm interested in 3 points. I don't want the keeper to be wound up. I want him to play good football.
It's a good tactic, man. It's a good tactic.
No, it's not.
What? You know what's yeah?
A good tactic is if we learn how to pass the ball and move around and score goals. What I'm saying is, I don't need to
learn in a day, man. Come on. Yeah.
No, what I'm saying is, by now, the team should have an identity. We shouldn't be second guessing we shouldn't be thinking, we might as well start Carroll to wind up the goalkeeper. We shouldn't be thinking that. We should be thinking, when they get a whiff of Callum Wilson and Mickey doing the thing on the left, they're going to be in problems. We can't even say that. We're just tossing up points. Hopefully, Matty should be back. And, if his brother's on, he should get in. Like, we don't even know who's playing.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, someone's just asked who's the centre-back pairing. Andrew's just asked who the centre-back pairing is going to be. So who would you guys go with? I mean, I don't know.
No, I'm liking Bruce's new thought process, playing players out of position. I'm going to play Farido Hernandez at right back now, just to see what I'm going. Going to convert Matty Longstaff to a winger.
He just tried the thing. Like, why not? You put Jacob right wing back. Why not?
Why not?
You know what I'm saying?
It could work. I think the system will probably be similar in terms of having a sort of a three at the back. It's looking like, and he's got, I think, a late fitness test that Lascelles won't make it. So I think Clark will probably come back in, or should come back in my opinion. It'll either be him or Dummett, and it'll be Fernandez and Shaw, which is not too bad if you're going to play three at the back. And I think they should, just to, with Calvert-Lewin being the main threat, if you're playing three centre-backs, you are effectively going out your way to isolate him. So I'd have Fernandez, one-on-one with him, matching him up, and then Clark and Shaw just around him to sweep up and to really make it difficult for him up top. So I think that'll probably be the three at the back, that sort of pairing.
Three at the back. Going back to Mr. Benitez's formation, I mean, Liam saying Cher and Fernandez, Jonathan saying mentioning Bruce and tactics in the same sentence should be blasphemy. I like that. Liam's asking, do you think we'll play three at centre back? I think, Andrew's asking that to Liam, and Liam's agreed. And then even Andrew's thrown in maybe Dummett or Clark will come in. I forgot that we had those two as well. So yeah, that's interesting as well. I think there was something else to mention, man. Something that's happened between Wolves and now. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Just a quick one. Honourable shout out to Atsu, because he lost his mum today. He put on Twitter that his mum passed away. So honourable shout out to him and his family. Obviously, we all talk about players and whether we think they're good or bad or rubbish or whatever, but until they leave the club, they're part of the community, they're part of the club, they're part of the family. So, massive condolences to him and his family. Big respect there.
No, for sure, man. Has anything else happened in between the Wolves game and now? Obviously, Bruce is probably talking up the team.
Well, you want to cover the Champions League game that we played?
Oh yeah, I must have missed that. We haven't played. Yeah, you played Champions League since Tino Esprit, have we?
You want to talk about the midweek game that we played? Yeah.
Yeah, it was at Park Rangers FC or something like that. Yeah.
Nothing's happened in between that period.
Nothing football on the pitch related, but there was obviously the fans that have put the letter in to the Premier League with regards to the competitive law, and they're looking to get a quick turnaround in terms of a court date. If the Premier League don't respond, I think it's Tuesday. They've got up until Tuesday to respond with regards to that. And if they don't respond, then obviously it will then go to court. There's obviously a lot of talk about that with regards to the Premier League not wanting a lot of what they've kept quiet, and a lot of stuff with regards to the big picture, like the Big Six, that project coming out in the wash with regard to that court proceedings, stuff about our own takeover and how other clubs, the likes of Tottenham, Man City, Liverpool, were involved in that, in stopping that from happening. There's a lot of talk that, this is why they've done what they've done, and it is fans that have put this letter together, but they are backed, backed financially, significantly. So it's not just a case of it's just a couple of fans doing it. They're actually, they're actually serious about what they're doing, and there's a chance that if all goes well, that it in time could get potentially settled outside of court, which would hopefully kick things on with potentially sorting out a takeover. I'm just giving a brief sort of overview there, and that's basically what's happened over this last week. It's very brief. There's a lot more information within that, and I'm sure if you feel did a quick search on Twitter, they'll be able to sort of delve into that information a little bit more. But that's sort of the brief of it all. But so that was the main thing that came out of this week. And then just a lot of fans on Twitter arguing with each other.
Keith just asked that as well, so yeah, I'm glad you covered that, mate. Got a message for Funmbi from a familiar face. Seb, Funmbi, I'm gonna send an airbrush picture of your boy Bruce with your face on it. Laugh out loud.
No, Seb's always trying to find a way to give Bruce some kind of small props. I'm not saying he's wrong, but if you think about it from this angle, like nothing, I hate that guy.
Wait, something did actually happen this week. It just popped into my head. Mike Ashley, remember him? He was saying that apparently, prices should be about £5 per game or whatever. Remember seeing that? Anyone reading that?
Yep.
Yep. So Mike,
all part of the mind games.
Exactly, Mr. Money Ashley, who usually loves to take from Newcastle fans. He's like, no, it's unfair to be charging £15 per game. I think it should be £5. Like, as you said, Pete, mind games. Like, the guy that's apparently tried to sell this club for God knows how many years. The guy that's helped us get relegated with his poor mismanagement twice. The guy that just constantly does stupid thing after stupid thing after stupid thing. He's the guy that's saying, oh, yeah, we should only pay £5. I mean, I'm not paying £15 anyway, regardless of £5 or whatever. So
it's not even about the pay-per-view. The comment was about the pay-per-view, but in the same breath, the comment wasn't about the pay-per-view. What he's trying to do, he's trying to get the Premier League's back up. If we ever had an indication of whether Mike Ashley wanted to sell the club or not, in the last 3 or 4 months, that is the example in his behaviour in the last 3 or 4 months. He wants to sell the club, and he's doing whatever he can legally, and he's doing whatever he can in his own sort of press in the media to get his message out that he's not happy with the Premier League. So if he's got an opportunity to come back at the Premier League, he'd already put a statement out saying that they'd rejected the takeover a month or 2 ago and caused up a stir that way, and he's done it again this week. He's doing it because he's trying to put more pressure on the Premier League to give them more negative light in the media, because the likes of Sky and other people who are up the Premier League's arses won't do it, but they'll only report it if it comes from Mike Ashley. So it's a way of getting out there in the mainstream media that the Premier League are not all as they seem. And that's why he's doing it. He's trying to put their backs up. He's trying to get them to act. And if they act, it means that Mike Ashley's got a way in. So it's all very, very tactical. All very tactical.
Yeah. Just going through some of the comments. Tony Hunter agrees with you, Pete, regards to what you said about Atsu. Pete, they're always part of the family, even after they've left. So shout out to you, Tony. Seb's come back for you, Funmbi. He said, "Nah, don't get it twisted. I'm not giving Bruce props.
That's exactly what he says.
Hopefully this is his last season."
He loves Bruce. Seb loves Bruce. Won't have a bad word said about him.
You know the funny thing, I didn't have a problem with Bruce. I thought, local hometown, he might prove us wrong, but his football is not. I've had too much fine wine to settle for Stella Artois at this present moment. It's just too much. I was popping ace of spades and champagne, I was in that Diddy bag.
There's nothing wrong with a bit of Stella Artois, mate.
Nah, I'm drinking hard. I'm drinking warm supermalt out here.
Okay, so last thing I got to ask you guys about your predictions, the score predictions. How's it going to go down, man? Come on.
I'm going to go 2-1 Newcastle. Callum Wilson twice. No, Callum Wilson and saint-maximin. But I reckon Calvin Lewis is going to score. But 2-1 us.
Okay, all right. What about you, Pete?
I'm going to go 1-0. I'm going to go 1-0 Newcastle. I think it's going to be a tight game. I just don't feel that Everton are going to be as free flowing with the players that they've got missing. So I think they're going to be cautious. I think they're going to set up to try and be hard to beat, and then as the game grows, they'll try and catch us on the counter. But equally, I think we'll be the same. So I think we'll just kind of cancel each other out until it gets later on into the game where it starts to open up a little bit. It's always the same with Newcastle. If we get the first goal, we've got something to hold on to. It lifts the players 10%. It gets them working a little bit harder and more sort of like defensively tight-knit. I think we've got a great chance of getting some points on the board tomorrow. And I believe we will.
Cool. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. I know I'm going to be very boring, but I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw. I think Pickford's going to play his part in some way. He can never stay out of the headlines for good or bad reasons, mainly bad, but I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw. Not too sure it's going to score, but I'll probably stick my neck out of the line and say ASM plays the hand in it, whether he scores or gets an assist anyway. So that is it, guys. That is the preview. Thank you for tuning in. Tomorrow is the game. Tomorrow, 2:00 kickoff, I believe. Have to work out when we come on because there's other things going on, plus this whole lockdown thing. So I've got to get out and film as much as possible because it doesn't look like I'm going to be going out for a very long while. So we'll let you know. Definitely be tomorrow though, and take care of yourselves and enjoy the rest of your Saturday evening. Take care.
Thanks, guys. Good to see you, man. Hopefully we win tomorrow, man. Good luck.
Definitely. And you boys, take it easy.
Peace.
Later.